We've got $50, let's go grab some investments. Now first up here, we're talking about the capsule market and specifically Paris, because Paris is now in a pretty interesting predicament. Although we definitely saw a lot of struggles with the beginning of Paris, we're now starting to see a lot of people flock back into Paris, which is an absolutely insane development if you know how Paris has been so far. Obviously, we can look at the application numbers, we know there is a decent amount of demand, but we also know the supply is absolutely insane. So the fact that people are returning is a very interesting predicament, but it's not bad by any means. This is definitely something I'm going to keep my eyes on over the next couple of weeks, because obviously we have the HLTV results for Copenhagen and so many other things that are definitely going to play a possible impact into this area. Focusing in specifically on Antwerp and Stockholm, I don't think we've seen really any massive changes inside of this area. We know that these long term should be a good investment, but in the short term here, they're just definitely seeing what's going on with the market, and that's overall just a relatively flat trend. I don't mind this honestly though, because we know there's a lot of big things on the horizon. We also know that there's definitely some impacts that could be had to this area, positive or negatives, so the fact that it's staying relatively even, for me personally, I don't really mind it. SkinSwap is today's sponsor, and they're also sponsoring you with a free bonus for signing up with the first link in the description. They're the premier place for CSGO and Rust skins, with a massive trading site and a top-of-the-line marketplace, offering you the most competitive rates out there and a massive 40% bonus when you're using that link in the description. Combine that with their top-of-the-line selling feature with many payout options, and their trading feature legitimately taking you just about a minute, and there's no reason not to sign up with that first link in the description. Now, talking about upcoming events, obviously we know that we're going to have the Copenhagen Major on the horizon, but I want to focus in on the other things. Specifically, we might be seeing the resurgence of Danger Zone. There's been a lot of leaks coming out that are supposing that Danger Zone is definitely going to be one of the most recent updates in the near future. And honestly, this is an extremely positive thing for the game. Obviously, we can look at the game right now. There is some dynamics that are definitely really good, but there's a lot of them that just feel like they're lacking. We can look at the player counts. We can look at what everyone's saying. They want more content inside of this game, and unfortunately, Valve just can't do that overnight. But the fact that they're working on Danger Zone is a very strong possibility of a lot of great content to come, or potentially more content just to be released with Danger Zone. Now, I know it's not upcoming, but I do want to focus in on Chinese New Year for a quick second, because I want to focus in on exactly why you shouldn't be investing into hypes real quick. We can look at what happened with Chinese New Year and specifically the Tyloo stickers. Obviously, we have not seen any crazy price spikes like a lot of people were projecting we were going to see. Honestly, you need to make sure that the events you're investing into actually have some merit to them. Not everything is going to boost up the market significantly, and this is a great example of that. And finally, then we always have the possibility of an operation or a brand new case on the horizon. I want to specifically focus in on the brand new case because I think it honestly is very possible that if we see Danger Zone, we could see another content update that comes along with it. Do I think a brand new case would definitely be a little bit of overkill? It's very possible, but the truth is it's definitely not something I would take completely off the table. We know Valve likes money, and this could be something that they're going to do in the meantime to try and hold off an operation until after the Copenhagen Major. It's a stretch, but it's definitely not out of the question. Another thing I want to focus in on is specifically the fact that we're probably going to see a map removed after the Copenhagen Major. Therefore, if you do have souvenir tokens that you want to go ahead and use during the Copenhagen Major, I would suggest waiting until all of the matches are complete, in my personal opinion, because that's exactly what we saw when Dust 2 was removed. If we want to look at Dust 2, although it's definitely one of the most profitable souvenir packages in the modern day, souvenir packages overall are just not super profitable. Therefore, if you're going to invest in any of them, you're probably going to want to go for the one that has a desirable collection that possibly gets removed. This is because we've seen a lot of leaks about potential new maps coming back into the game, and honestly, I think it's definitely overdue for a significant amount of these maps. The biggest thing I'll say about this area is don't get blinded just because it's a discontinued collection or whatever happens. Just be sure you're making smart decisions, even though it is a souvenir package. Now, talking about the case market's a little bit weird right now, because obviously you know me, you know how much I love the case market, and specifically the rare case market. A lot of these cases, in my personal opinion, should be so much more expensive than they are right now, and the fact that we're actually seeing them on a little bit of a decreasing trajectory right now is extremely unique, in my personal opinion. I didn't expect to see this at all. With that being said, this is why CS investing is so profitable, because we know investments that theoretically, as long as the game doesn't go ahead and fall off, are going to be great investments long term, because the demand is there, they have a decreasing supply, and the demand is always going to outpace the supply, especially in the next upcoming years for these cases. There's so much opportunity inside of this area because the prices theoretically should just get more and more expensive. We got people opening up 5,000-10,000 of these cases at a time. There is so much money being pumped into this market, and you know all of this, and the fact that we're seeing rare cases right now not doing anything absolutely crazy is why this market is so profitable for so many people. With that being said, obviously these cases are still on a downward trajectory, especially in the short term here. We're not talking about anything crazy, but there's a lot of opportunity, and I would say it's definitely one of the strongest areas I would be looking at right now if I had some budget and I wanted to go ahead and invest. We know what this area is going to do, and when we're talking about safe investments, rare cases are exactly that. Now, talking about personally what I'm avoiding right now, number one is going to be Paris investments. The truth is I love Paris long term, but I don't necessarily know if right now is going to be the most opportune time to go ahead and get into it. We've started to see the prices move very slightly, and that's making a lot of people want to FOMO back into it. Honestly, you shouldn't be investing like that, and I think it's a huge mistake if that's the way you're going to make your investment decisions, and therefore I'm just holding off on Paris right now. I definitely think it's a great investment long term, but I'm not going to be picking up any more of it. After that's going to be the discontinued cases. Now, I absolutely absolutely love the discontinued cases, but the truth is they're extremely expensive for the current price point that they're at, and honestly, as much as I do love them long term, I don't think the potential is really there compared to some of the less expensive cases. These ones are definitely great if you're looking for as safe as it gets, but they're just a little too expensive for my personal budget. And finally, the last two are going to be filler skins and agent skins. Now, agent skins are just a little bit too expensive. Filler skins are a little bit different. Obviously, we know filler skins long term are just kind of ones that fluctuate a lot. It's really dependent on the demand that the game has right now. But with the new drop system, I honestly am not too confident inside of this area. When we're talking about a super low budget, we want to make sure we're investing our money into things that we know, or at least very strongly feel, are probably going to be good investments in the short to long to midterm, and I just don't know that about filler skins. Now, if you started investing over the past 6 months or so, you're probably going to realize you're in a pretty big of a deficit, potentially. There's a lot of problems inside of this area, and the truth is that's just because of how the market works inside of this area. The market is very stagnant for potentially a decent amount of time, and then we see an absolutely huge hype spree. The biggest thing is making sure you're selling off at the peak of that hype, because that's exactly when you're going to be making your money. Don't sell off your investments now just because you're scared. If you made strong fundamental investments based off data, you're going to be at a decent situation, and you're going to be able to sell at that peak as long as you're not scared and you hold on to your items. Now, what specifically are we buying? The first thing is going to be the Antwerp 2022 Challengers capsule. Now, this one's very specific. Honestly, when we're talking about Antwerp, it's my least favorite of the three. I just think it has the least potential of the three, but it's got two big things. First up, it's got the cheapest price point at only a 59-cent buy order. That's absolutely insane in the current market. Second thing is going to be it's got the Imperial Hollow. Imperial, we don't know if they're going to qualify for Copenhagen or not, but it's kind of a little bit of a bet that Copenhagen is either not going to be borderless or Imperial's just not going to make it. Even if both those things happen, I still think long term it's going to be a decent investment, but nothing absolutely crazy. Second up is going to be the Sticker 2 capsule. Now, the Sticker 2 capsule is actually qualified as a rare drop, making up 1% of the drop pool. It is something that is still dropping, but the truth is when we all look at the Sticker 2 capsule, we can see a lot of trends develop, specifically what I call the indicator. You can see the peaks of the market every single time happens with the Sticker 2 capsule. It goes absolutely crazy. When we're looking at the current price point of the Sticker 2 capsule, it is extremely expensive. I mean, you could look at this thing. It's absolutely dirt cheap right now compared to some of the past prices. It hasn't been this cheap for a long time, and therefore I think picking up another one of these is in our best interest. Third up, we're going to be going with the clutch case, and it's very simple why I went with the clutch case over the snakebite case. When we're talking about these two cases, we obviously know that these two are the cheapest of the rare cases, but the truth is the clutch case is so much more developed in terms of the decreasing supply, and when we want to look at the price points, the snakebite and the clutch case actually aren't too far off. It's basically a 2-to-1 ratio, and honestly, especially in the shorter term here, I think the clutch case is definitely going to excel. We can look at the past 1 year of the clutch case, and I think that's the exact growth we're probably going to see for the snakebite case moving forward. I love the snakebite case, but it's just not developed enough for us inside of this investing series, and therefore we're going with the clutch case. And finally, our last investment, you know we had to do. We're going to be grabbing some Prisma 2 cases. I honestly just think it's way too cheap of a price point for us to go ahead and pass on this case. As much as I love the Danger Zone, that was the only other one that even came close at the current price points. Things are a little bit too cheap, in my personal opinion, in the rare case market to just completely pass them up, especially when we know exactly what they're going to do long term. Therefore, we had to go with them. We know the strong unboxing numbers. We know everything this area has. That's all I got. I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.